So, all right, we're going to go ahead and get started and get to recording. Okay. So, before we get started, anything's off limits specifically?
No, nothing.
Nothing? Okay.
No.
Uh,
I'm an
anything
open book. You get old enough, you don't care.
anything you want me to touch on that you want to bring about or anything that you want the community to know? This is going to be pretty much with a lot of newbies trying to get in the business and understand the business. So this will be a wealth of knowledge for them just to hear it from someone who has been there and know the grassroots of how it got started.
Cool. Yeah, I mean, I literally, well, we can get into it, but yeah, I didn't even have a press and I was printing t-shirts.
Okay, cool beans, cool beans. All right. So,
Wait, let me just turn my phone off here.
okay.
That would not be, it does not make for good video. Phone's ringing. All right.
All right. So, ladies and gentlemen, I am pleased to introduce our next guest speaker we have here today on our podcast here at Minor Solutions. We always try to bring you some innovative and motivative information that is going to give you insights to uh, your journey on your path, be it screen printing, embroidery, or any type of printing mechanism that you're using. So we have with us Mr. Rick Roth. He's a pioneer in screen printing. He is, I think, the co-founder of Ink Kitchen, correct?
And I found it up myself, actually.
Okay, founder of Ink Kitchen. I thought it was you and your wife, so that's why I said
No, we
co-founder.
do it together, but I started it quite a while ago.
So he has been in screen printing for a very long time, and he has been doing some charitable community outreach things. And we're gonna dig deep and find out who is Rick Roth. So let me introduce to some and present to many Rick Roth. Yay!
Nice to be here. Really nice to be here. It's really very nice of you to have me. Thank you.
Thank you for even accepting our invitation. We are so pleased to have you on. Um, I want to start off by you telling us who is Rick Roth.
Well, that's funny. Well, so I am a screen printer and I've done that for a long time. I've
Okay.
also done a lot of activism. I've been an Amnesty International member. Well, I always remember because I started when my oldest daughter was born. So 43 years I've been doing that, which is for people that don't know what it is, it's a volunteer, mostly volunteer, regular citizens working on human rights around the world, people that are in prison for, their religion or political views, against the death penalty in all cases, against torture. So I do that, and always been. I don't play music, or I'm not. Well, I guess I'm an artist of t-shirts sometimes, but I have a film festival and do a lot of music events and big supporter of some music charities, um, the New Orleans Musicians Clinic and the Music Makers Foundation, and help with a festival that's in the country of Georgia, in the former Soviet Republic of Georgia, where Armenians and our Azerbaijanis are at war, but the kids from each country can go and do stuff together there. So that's kind of a cool thing. That's really been fun also. And but always screen printing, love screen printing. I love how in some ways it's really egalitarian, like anybody could get into it if they're in, want to do it. You can print posters or t-shirts and really anybody could do it. And I like that it makes art that's affordable.
Right.
It's not art to be hung in a gallery for rich people to buy. T-shirts, anybody can have their favorite t-shirt pretty much. Um, Maybe not one that LeBron James buys, but most t-shirts, most people could afford it if they really want it.
Okay.
Um,
Okay.
and then I'm pretty proud father and now grandfather many times over. I raised 12 kids
Oh my
and
goodness.
um so you got to say some stuff you didn't know, right?
Right. Right. My
Um
goodness.
no, and it's cool that you have me because one reason I started the Ink Kitchen, which is a media company, meant to really I felt like a lot of new people don't know who to trust, and I try to have trustworthy speakers, people that don't normally speak,
Mhm.
uh, kind of acknowledge that maybe half the world is women and 20, 30% are people of color. Maybe they shouldn't be all white guys, like just a crazy notion like that. And uh, so, when I started, there was a really big company called Ocean Atlantic Textile, and the guy that ran it was really generous. He was a friend of a friend. I didn't know him through screen printing. Jerry Klaus was his name, and he showed me everything he was doing. And
Wow.
I've always been grateful for that. And like, I can't pay him back, but you can pay it forward. I'm a big believer you pay forward if you can.
And you most definitely.
So yeah, he had some of the first automatic equipment, and he also taught me something really important, which is to like set a goal. He always wanted to be the biggest, and keeps you focused and also makes it easier to make decisions. You know, am I going to buy, at the time, was I going to go from wooden frames to metal frames? Yeah, I want to be the biggest. I'll invest in the metal frames. Should I get this ink mixer? Yeah, because I'm going to be big. And as I've said many times, I kind of wish sometimes I wanted to be the best. Sometimes I wish I had decided to be the richest because that part has been a struggle at times. But way into screen printing, with a couple friends of mine, just early on went from simple printing to like very complicated as it gets. We were one
Great.
of the couple companies that came up with simulated process separations, which is a way to use multiple halftones to reproduce color images. And we were doing famous photographs and literally the Mona Lisa, paintings for different museums. And then later we got into more um, fashion wear. So we printed for like Rockaware and academics and
Good.
that with a lot of special effects. So using high density ink to have things that look like uh, tape or sewing or what have you. Um, I have a site. It doesn't say it's me because it's for showing promo people, but called monkeyfishprinting.com. And there's a gallery in there that a lot of good pictures of what we do.
I have seen that. I saw that when I was researching you. I saw that. So yes, I do.
So I don't know. Done a lot of things. I started so I majored in philosophy and religion at college, and I went to Harvard Divinity School.
Okay.
And
So
um,
you have
but
a fine soul.
but my my mother's family was farmers, and my my mother's family, excuse me, and my father's family, like his um uncle that was his age, worked at Bethlehem Steel, like working class people, and so I kind of been able, I think, to bridge that world in some ways. I get along well with working class people as well as intellectual college kind of people. And not that there's not a mix of that, but you know what I mean. And
Yeah.
so I played a lot of sports as a kid. I got paid to play basketball in Switzerland actually when I was younger, and played baseball till I was 60. And
Wait a minute. You don't look like you're 60.
I'm 70, my friend.
Oh my God. You do not even look like you're 60. Oh my,
Hey, the Santa Claus beard didn't give it away. Come on.
no, it's not. I mean, I
So,
still thought you were 60 now. So
I actually started printing t-shirts. Well, a friend taught me in college. Actually, if you go in the ink kitchen, you can look. I told my like foundation story. Somebody still had the first shirts I printed, and there was 12 printed, and one of my friends still had one of them. I helped a friend, he printed these. There's an artist, Art Crum, and we printed those. And then another friend got a paid job to print some for a farmer, and we printed, I think, 15 shirts, and somebody had one of those. But the first one I printed by myself
Mhm.
At my college, there was a building um, called Old Bio. It had been the biology building, but turned into an art building. It was made from stones on the campus, like a beautiful old building. And the Olin Corporation wanted to tear it down because it was obstructing the view of the building that they built. So
Okay.
I printed shirts that said Save Old Bio, and people wore them around. And that was the first job. And it kind of combined activism and shirt printing because guess what? That building is still there. They didn't tear it down and they still haven't torn it down. So it was successful. So that kind of got me going on that. And then I used to print, friends, we had a party and we would print live at the party. Like we would bring a screen, people would bring shirts, we'd print them with a water-based ink, hang them on a line. So another friend of mine was doing cartoon art and had a pretty good business, made a living with his art. It's like, I want to do t-shirts. I know you know how to do them. So we printed some shirts he wanted to print. I took him to this place and guy's like, no, I don't want those. But if you print these cartoons he did, I'll take those. I'll take 150. So there started my little side business.
Wow.
But I didn't even know what a press was. I I was a carpenter. I made frames myself, hand stretched them, stapled the mesh on. I used a 150-watt light bulb and a pie plate, and I had 45-minute exposures. No vacuum. I used a glass to hold the film down. And I would just take the screen, put it straight. If I was going to do like 50 shirts, I put thin cardboard in every one of them. I would just take the screen and by eye, put it on straight, print it with one hand, put the screen on a box, shake out the cardboard and hang it on a clothesline. So I was
Oh,
going to this place and they sold printable shirts, but they didn't tell me. So I was buying undershirts, Hanes undershirts in those packages with the cardboard and the 3 shirts. I had piles to my ceiling of cardboard, like everywhere. And like, because I didn't know. And
oh,
I didn't have hinges or anything. I just by eye did. I did thousands of shirts that way, thousands
oh my
in my
God.
basement. And so I think I got a gut understanding of it,
You
from
have
doing
a
that.
vast experience in doing this, especially if you did it by eye and you got it correctly right aligned and with no registration.
No. So um then we got, more and more work and I was friends with people that had this business in a youth program, like they taught kids to screen print. So we would use their equipment at night. I would pay them. And then we printed this one thing and it was really hard to print. And we found this little press for paper and basically made an automatic printing machine. Like it was, but the like squeegee pressure was lead weights
Okay.
that we put on it. And we added stuff to the ink. It was probably bad for us because I don't think they sell that stuff. And we, in one pass, were printing these giant white ink uh, prints on black shirts because it was a like really big print. Um, and then eventually the youth program went out of business. I bought their equipment and their customers, but half their customers hated them. So I had to convince them, to come back in the fold and had to replace the equipment pretty fast. But I didn't know what I was doing. I bought a new dryer. So the shop at that time was in this house that had been converted to the youth program.
Okay.
And so the dryer came. I thought it came in pieces. I didn't know. Here's this thing. The truck driver drops it on the front lawn like the size of a car. And I got to get it into the building. I'm like, oh no, what if it rains? Like, what am I going to do? So my friend that was a plumber, he came, we took it out of the crate, we took the legs off, and he and his brother are these giant dudes, man. And they just carried it in sideways and we got it in the room and put it back together. But I had no idea. There's not
Oh,
many schools that teach you. I
yeah.
hadn't worked at a place. I didn't know.
So at this point, you're learning on your own, and you're realizing you're needing more guidance or more understanding. So
Yeah.
did you reach out to a mentor, or how did you get from that point to being a little bit more precise in your artwork?
So I kept my job when I started my business. I think that was really important. I had kids. I needed the benefits. So at night, I would go and I did all the screen stuff. I don't know. I was kind of blessed. I did not have to sleep a lot because I didn't. And I hired someone that knew more than me.
Okay.
And she was a really good printer, and we would work together on stuff. And so I learned things from her. But some of it we learned the hard way. She didn't really know what a flash was. I didn't. We had this. We got this early job, and it was, the inks weren't as good. Then they built up, right? And it was for MIT bookstore, and it had like red and white on purple shirts. We stayed up all night with a hair dryer, like that was our flash, so that we could print it to get our 75 shirts done. I've always been like, I don't like to make a mistake, and I don't like to like not deliver. If I promise something, man, I'll do anything, and I've always kept that, even when it was thousands of shirts that need to get delivered on time. I could tell you a couple stories about the lengths I went to get things done. So we were in that building, got my job. At the time, I worked for really great guy, Mel King. He just passed away. He was the first black candidate for mayor in Boston, and
Okay.
did some great stuff. Stopped this highway project that would have wrecked the city, and we have the Orange Line subways in that spot. And he was anyway. So by day I did this work in these housing projects in Lawrence and Boston, and then I did this stuff at night, and then eventually I transitioned out of the job and was just screen printing. And I was just really into it. So we got some stuff that was more complicated, and I subcontracted it out to somebody, and I would go over there. They had the equipment and they had the knowledge, but they did not care about the work. Like, I ended up working with them for a while, and you would have to go and watch what they were doing, or they would make a mess.
Um,
Um,
I
but
did.
one guy that worked there, Colin Cheer's name was, and I were really into it, and we ended up had these ideas on how to print photographs. At the time, people would just do a straight black halftone, and it
Mhm.
didn't look that great. And we were trying to reproduce like a famous French photographer's photo, the guy where the guy's kissing the lady on the street, and we separated it 19 times. And this is not when you had desktop publishing. So we had to go to what's called a service bureau, get the films for a lot of money, burn all our screens, print it, see how it came out. It wouldn't be right. Go back. We did it over and over. We were just fanatical, I tell you.
Wow.
And but learn the basis of what everything that came after. Um, Worked with a different subcontractor for a long time until I could afford a machine. When I did, I bought an MHM, which was the best machines, 12 colors so we could print dark shirts. And
Was this an automatic or
yeah, it was first automatic that I had. We had been doing hand, I missed a part there. We were doing hand printing,
okay.
but I hired people mostly. I didn't do a lot of the hand printing.
So you've gone from you hand making your own
Yes,
printing machine to working with a manual to now doing automatic, correct?
yes.
So could you discuss some of the, since you've seen all these different changes, can you discuss the three different changes and where we are about to go possibly with the technology and the advances in screen printing and AI? Uh, where do you think we'll be going here shortly?
Well, so it's pretty interesting. So I think AI is not to be denied. I mean, AI is your spell check. It's already here. It was here for a while, but it's rapidly advancing. So we actually have a new In Kitchen, inkitchen.com, and our YouTube channel. Check out our YouTube channel.
Yes.
And in fact, the newest episode, which is just going to drop, um, this woman, Michelle Moxley Ruby, is now working with the In Kitchen. We're doing these series on artificial intelligence. And I mean,
Okay.
I got to watch those things like 10 times. Like she's very deep. But this most recent one, she really breaks things down, which I kind of like, simple. And, you know, it's the future for sure of a lot of what we do. I
Mhm.
really think it has, people are scared, but it has the promise of taking a lot of drudgery away also.
Right.
No, if you have online stores, you don't really want to write a caption for everything. If it can do that for you and you just check it out, beautiful, right? Who wants to do that? So I think artificial intelligence is huge. You know, with being around since dinosaurs ruled the earth, you get some perspective, and everything's going to change something. There'll be no more hand printing. There's only going to be automatic printing. Oh no, DTG is going to take everything over. No, hybrid's going to take it over. Oh no, DTF's going to take it over. Well, nothing's going to take over anything. Like there's going to be portions that change, but there's always going to be room for all of the decoration techniques, really. And you know, there's still going to be some you can make for like $50 a little rig and print posters. And if you are a good artist, you could make the coolest stuff in the world better than somebody that's got a bunch of automatic presses. I mean, there's always room for creativity. In some ways, a lot of these new advances give you more opportunity to use your creativity. You can get started. I started hand printing, and I think there's some virtue in that. But probably if you want to make a business out of it, um, transfers are the way to start. Get customers.
Yeah.
Customers are the most, you know what I mean? You can be the best printer in the world. If you don't have customers, what the hell are you going to print, right?
Yeah. You can't. Uh, Speaking of that, what would be your best suggestion for a newcomer on the scene in trying to get customers? What would you suggest for them?
We have a guy that's going to give a shop talk and uh, in Atlantic City trade impression show that's
Okay.
coming up at the expo. And I was
Great.
talking to him, and his he would stop printing at 11 o'clock every day and go out for 2 hours and look for work. And he would just with flyers to pizza parlors and construction companies and just get out there. And a key part of that I think even on the biggest business, very easy to get caught up in getting your work done. And when you're the busiest, man, you are waiting for a fall because while you're so busy printing, what are you going to do a month from then? What are you going to do 6 months from then if you weren't planting any seeds and you weren't getting any new work? So you always got to leave time to do it. And there's not a magic trick. It's like hard work. It's really hard work. I think there's plenty of information out there of how to do sales. And I guess that leads me to say, I think people think they need to know how to print really well, but you got to learn business. There's a lot of tools out there. It's one thing I like about my buddy Stan Banks. He's also
Yeah.
teaches people about the business part. How do you do sales? What are you going to do about bookkeeping? Um, just real basics like make sure you pay your taxes because that's not where you're going to borrow your money. You do that, you're like cruising for disaster.
Yeah. You are most definitely.
So, you know, I guess find out what you're good at and what you like for sales also. You're going to be the best salesperson for your business if you're excited about it.
Mhm.
So if you know sports or art or you're a community activist, maybe you want to start there.
Mhm.
Um, and don't be afraid to use every resource you have. I think people think they're cheating if they ask their friends and family. No, that's everybody does.
Yeah, they
I
do.
think Donald Trump got his money in the beginning on his own.
No.
They figured it out actually. If you took the money he got from his father and just invested in the stock market, you'd have more money than he has now. He's not a brilliant business person. Anyway, friends and family are going to help you, even if you're an idiot. So use them.
Oh,
Sorry, get a little politics in there.
that's okay. You, I have no. Okay, so let me ask you. I know you started the Ink Kitchen. How did it come about? What was your vision behind the Ink Kitchen? And how do you feel that it has contributed to the community of screen printing or
So,
printing?
so I started it with, I mean, it was kind of different at the time. There weren't blogs really too much, and they weren't about screen printing. So, it was a little bit different, I think. And then kind of relaunched it, and we really hit it hard. So we had a new partner. He's gone now, but he and I posted with almost every single day. So almost, we had, I think, 320 posts in a year. And that was everything from industry news to like how to stop dye migration in a polyester shirt to like what's a good screen stretcher to what's ghosting on a shirt. Like all things that we felt we knew as pretty advanced screen printers and wanted to share with other people. And the other thing is the sharing with other people. And I think Ink Kitchen has been a force, and I think things have changed. You know, I talk to vendors at the trade shows, and I'm like, you can compete all you want, but you better do some things that are fun and informative so that somebody
Mhm.
comes that you can compete over. Like,
Right.
otherwise, why are they going to come? They want to just come for you to sell them stuff? No, you guys got to work together a little bit. Not to mention, there's plenty of work for good companies.
There
Let's
is.
get together with the good companies and do some stuff together. Hey, I mean, if I told you how to color separate like I do, you wouldn't even want to do it. Like there, I can help you along, and you're not stealing my business. You're not separating the Mona Lisa next week. Like we can help each other, really. Like everybody usually has their own. I mean, yeah, do some people take advantage of you? Yeah, you kick those people to the curb hard, but like I usually like to start with that you can cooperate with people, give and take, and that'll improve everybody's situation. So I felt like the Ink Kitchen was like to form community, to highlight like people that are good people. There's a lot of, I learned from a lot of my vendors that really, that's a cliche that they're your partner, but they are. So really good vendors, they look out for you, they teach you things, they'll help you when you make a mistake. And, if you're loyal to them, they'll be loyal to you. I've had some amazing stuff happen.
Yeah.
I mean, I had a guy at an ink company put his job on the line for the company to come through when there was a problem with the ink and some shirts were ruined. That's
That's it's significant.
a couple years ago, we ruined a lot of shirts, and I mean thousands of dollars. And the sales people that I deal with at that company, well, one is I had a spoilage account, luckily, but they used their sample account to get us shirts to help us, and they gave us a discount.
Oh wow. That is
And
awesome.
you know, but it's two-way street. I've always helped them, you
Right.
know.
Right.
So I guess the idea with the Ink Kitchen was to have solid information because there's a lot of bullshitters out there. I'm sorry to say. You might have found one or two yourself, perhaps. And so I try to have people that really know what they're talking about. I try to have people that are not trained professional speakers. They know what they're talking about.
Exactly.
One of the better things I've done is like get people over their fear of public speaking. I've
Right.
had people where the mic is like shaking, and that, they're so nervous, and they get through it, and it's on people's top 10 of biggest fears for most people is public speaking. So you get people through that. That's a beautiful thing. So try to have highlight people that know what they're talking about, get good information out there, encourage cross pollination of different printers getting together and talking to each other. And then I've really, after a while in the kitchen, the other thing I tried to do was, you know, for our community to give to the communities that we're in. And so it used to bother me. The trade shows would collect money for these really lame charities. Some of them were like clearly had way too much overhead. They weren't getting things done. So in the past year, we've really taken it to a new level, and we've done this poster printing. And in Long Beach, we had 32 companies sponsor the poster printing, sold posters. We're giving $20,000 to a program in Long Beach, California, that there's like 4,000 homeless people in Long Beach. And this guy goes out there, he collects trash and paints over graffiti with them and like engages them where they are, and not like, hey, come downtown and get your life together. He's engaging them on their terms and then finding out what they need and trying to get them the help that they need, whether it's a job or a down payment or mental health treatment or drug treatment. And the first year we did this poster print, I think we made $700 to give to a charity. We got
Right.
$20,000 this time. We're gonna have 10,000 for this Woman's Day program for homeless people in Atlantic City. Like, people have come together to do this. It's pretty cool.
I've
You know?
noticed you were here in Fort Worth, and that was the first time I saw the poster printing. But when I was in Long Beach, I saw it there as well. And each one of the poster prints, I mean, they're phenomenal poster prints, artwork. I noticed that you do a lot in charitable donations back to your community. That is an awesome thing. Talk about that more, about all the things that you do
Hey,
in the community.
well, in terms of the trade shows, I don't think it's right for us to go into a town and, all right, we bought some beer and, some people have a job at the trade center, but we can do more than that. We can do better than that. So, and particularly, it used to get me, people complaining about homeless people around the convention centers or something. All right, well, let's do something about it, right? Come
Right.
on. It's not that hard. Some of these companies have a lot of money. They have a big budget. They might take somebody out for steak dinner that costs $500. They got $500 they can give. And you know what? I think a lot of people want to do good and they don't know how. So I'm that stir that stirs that drink, maybe the straw that stirs that drink, maybe. Like, they want to do it. If you ask them something they can do, they think it's going to make a difference. I do a lot of research. I make sure we're giving it to not some program where someone's driving around in a fancy car and not doing anything. These are like low overhead programs that do great work.
Good.
The one Upcycle in Fort Worth, they have a homeless person working on every garbage truck in Fort Worth, either a currently or former homeless person. But they don't just say, hey, go, here's a job. They like support them, make their lunch, drive them there till they can get their feet on the ground. They have 600 mailboxes for homeless people to get their mail. What a brilliant idea. That doesn't cost a lot, but
That's it. That's important, because if you don't have an address,
no, you
you
can't do
you
nothing.
can't do anything.
No. So anyway, when you tell people stories, I've had the vendors, some of them come out and come with me to check these places out. They see they're doing good work. People want to help. They do. Most people want to do good. If you ask them to do something that they can do and they think it's going to make a difference, and it has to be well organized. I think we've been really well organized, so they feel like they're part of something that's solid. That's part of it. Um, in New Orleans, when they had the Printing United shows, we did some crazy good charity. We
Okay.
did one time we made $50,000 for the New Orleans Musicians Clinic. Uh, we printed 10,000 shirts donated by Haynes, and Tower Records at the time sold the shirts and gave all the money to the clinic. And it's a really good program. Musicians don't have health insurance. And in New Orleans, no music, no New Orleans,
New
So,
Orleans. Right.
right? So, anyway, that was a good one. I don't know, just try to be creative about it and make a difference. I don't know, what are we here for? To buy more toys? I don't think so.
Everyone, it's just that you're finding your purpose, and going ahead and living it, and producing through your purpose. I think, we all here for a short period of time. We just wading through the water until we get to the end.
Yeah, I mean,
So
I don't want to, mind you, I don't want to be poor. No, and I've had like really ups and downs. At one point we had, I think, 35 permanent employees, a lot of temps. Lost, we lost a giant customer with no notice. There was a recession in 2008 at the same time, and I had a
Mm.
bookkeeper that embezzled from me.
Oh my,
Uh, and we, and there was some changes at one of my other big um, big customers. We went from all that to like two people working, two,
wow.
and we owed all this money, and I built it all back up and paid everybody off.
That's an awesome feat. That's
It
very
was
awesome.
not easy, and took a lot of people to help me.
So you have gone through financial things and you've risen above those things. And um, what's
Personally and work, both. When I was
personally,
when I was 28, I got a rare disease in my ankle, uh, pigmented villonodular synovitis, right? You ever heard of that? No. It's like sort of a tumor and it destroys your joint. So I
oh,
couldn't walk. And I was told I'd never be able to walk more than a block or play any sports or anything, which I have proved wrong. So I got an experimental treatment. Then somebody treated me for free with acupuncture. But I had a baby. I had identical twin daughters and a 2-year-old at that time, and a teenager stepdaughter, and like no job. So I don't know. That which does not kill you makes you stronger. You also find out who your friends are and how important they are, friends
mm-hmm,
and family.
mm-hmm.
And I don't know, I think you get through something like that and you can get through anything if you put your mind to it. Not that it's easy. Yeah, when anybody poo-poos somebody that like is having a hard time in their business or it fails, and like you don't know. It's hard.
Nice.
It's very hard.
What advice would you give businesses looking to possibly joint venture or partner with other companies or organizations to get their foot in the door in the industries? What advice would you give them?
Um, do you mean like for getting customers or what do you mean exactly? Like I'm not,
You joint venture with someone, you're pairing up with them. Sometimes they may have
oh,
uh, the things that you may need that you don't necessarily have, but you guys come together and that actually, you may have 50% of whatever I'm missing or lacking
oh
versus
yeah, I think that's a really good thing. I don't really have a joint venture, but I talked today with my friend at Don Ray Printing, and he's like really expert on sublimation. So, I've been able at times to send him work, and he
okay,
then like is sending us a customer that wants some embroidery. And so we don't have a joint venture on this, but we do yes. And then so I have a partner company actually. So I do have that. So we're in Rhode Island, Mirror Image, and I have a company in South Carolina, Machine Solutions, started by my friend Galen Tillman, and now his daughters run it. And so they only print. Like they don't, so I do all the sales, all the artwork, and all the purchasing, because those are my expertise. And he used to be the repair person for MHM presses. So he has a low overhead because he's got his three daughters working there. Um, he got his equipment for inexpensively because he fixed it, and he manufactured flash cure units there. So he's kind of covering his rent already.
okay.
So we're able to do really big jobs, but still treat our employees okay and be competitive. And so, that has worked out really well. And this is all on a handshake. We don't even have a contract.
Oh,
Um, every bit of work, or almost 95% of their work, is from me. And, a good part of what work I get is done by them. And it's worked out for both parties.
yeah. So you have screen printing, you have the print shop, you have ink kitchen, you you have monkey fish. So all these entities
Yeah, well,
are
Monkeyfish is mirror image, really. All
okay.
that was is we do work for promo companies, contract printing, and they want to show people what they can do, but they don't want those people to find us. So that's what that was. That's why there's none of our contact information there. That's so that if you want to send a job to one, if you have a job and you want to send it to us, you can say, look what we can do, and they can't go around that person and find us.
I see all these things, and these are the things that you're doing. But what is the one that stands above the rest that you love to do?
I think that changes, honestly. I think originally it was to be like, we won what were called Golden Image Awards for like the best print. That was really what drove me. I think charitable, success, like really making a difference is like really important to me.
Mhm.
I know you asked for the main one. I'm not doing just one. Sorry. That's not me. That's not me.
Your world. It's your world, Rick. I'm just here.
So I think yeah, that I can pass on information, I think it also makes me happy in kitchen, you know, show people share my contacts, share my information, share my knowledge. I think that's become pretty important. I like that too.
So if you were a younger Rick at this point right now, taking all the knowledge that you have at the age you are, what would you tell him?
That's a good one. Well, the world's changed though. So a lot of it's not just my experience, it's what I see now. You know, I think I said it earlier. I know that whereas I might have started my shop with a manual press, I
Mhm.
think today I would start it with transfers. You know, some of the transfers that, I forget what Stalls calls theirs, or FM Expressions has those vintage transfers. They look just like printing. If you have a DTF printer, you can make, softer transfers. There
This
you
is a strip flock. So yeah,
go. So, and heat transfer presses have changed, right? They have
yeah,
heat on the bottom. So, or even if you're smart, you can always do it from the back, tack it
yeah,
on and then heat most of it on the bottoms. You can scorch the inside of a shirt, no one cares. But, there's ways now to do raised, transfers, puff or flock, like you said, or patches, all that kind of stuff. You can be very creative with just a heat press and
yeah.
uh, and learning to buy the right transfers. And I think you know, and then the if you're going to screen print posters, I think is really easy to do.
Yeah,
You
they
know,
are. I saw at that show that showed me that the posters were very, very
although Andy makes it look easy, but
he does. He really does.
no,
He's
he
really
is a master. Like he is really one of the greatest flat stock printers, and loves teaching beginners. He's awesome. He's going to be in Atlantic City and Fort Worth.
okay. Okay,
He's
cool.
going to fly down from Canada and do the Atlantic City show with us. And he loves showing people with like no money how to print posters. He does a lot of work with the First Nation that's near him, Vancouver Island, where he lives, and with a lot of the First Nations in Canada. Sometimes they'll zoom in because they're in remote areas, and he'll help them screen print with simple equipment. And you can make posters pretty easily without a lot of equipment. Posters and transfers.
Yeah.
It's my new.
So 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 that's what you're producing. What about embroidery? You don't like the embroidery?
I like embroidery. It's very predictable, unlike screen printing. Screen printing, it's like, how long is that going to take? I don't know. Like, I think this, but I don't know. Embroidery, how many stitches is it? That's how long it'll take.
Exactly.
Um,
Get the math down to a science on the minutes.
yeah, that for me is more business than art,
Fun.
if you will. I mean, we have, I think, 28 heads. It's a lot. I have a really good woman, Maria, who's good at it and keeps the machines running. And it also helps you keep your customers, like, they want embroidery and screen printing. Also, when right now screen printing is very slow. I'm not sure why. And then embroidery is still going great. So
Yeah, that
that
is true.
helps.
I have heard that from numerous of screen printers this previous week, that it's been very, very slow. But embroidery is doing well for everyone, including me. So yeah, I agree with you there.
Um,
One, I want to ask you,
yeah.
what will you do if you can't screen print or do any charitable donations or any charitable anything or anymore? What if you can't do those things? What would you do? How would you build Rick Roth back up from his ashes as a phoenix?
Well, that's funny. Well, I mean, I think I have a lot of interest, like, so I've had for 23 years a film festival in Pawtucket, Rhode Island,
Okay.
annual film festival. I got a lot
Well,
of friends. Some of them live in really cool places.
oh, a picture with you and Willie Nelson. I think it was it? Oh, yeah. So you're very film festival, music festivals.
Oh
You
yeah, I
like?
have two. I have two radio shows too.
Oh, really?
Music radio shows, yeah. So I live near MIT in Cambridge, Massachusetts, and there's a station. It's half students and half community members. So I
Okay.
have two radio shows. One is I play everything, everything from 60s rock to soul to jazz to experimental, and then the other show is a country show, but not more like Hank Williams, bluegrass, all
When
over
do
the country.
I'm just asking? When do you sleep?
You know what? Someone asked me that today, actually. It's like, how do you do all this stuff? You know what? I don't have a TV.
I don't either. Well, I have one, but I don't look at it. No, I'm over.
And I
I'm
haven't had one for a
allergic
really long time. You know that? My kids growing up didn't have a TV.
that and books all around me and computers or monitors. That's what I do mostly.
That's records behind me there. See
Uh,
all that vinyl.
yeah, that's a lot of vinyl. You
You
have a
can't see
lot.
it, but to this side is all books. So, yeah, I think that's a big part of it. I try to like work it together. If you're doing a charitable thing and I got to call the guy from Saudi for some technical information, and then I talk to him about the charitable, then it's one call. It's not so hard, you know, um, and I got other people. My wife works on in kitchens. She's does
Yeah,
a
came up.
lot of it. And then Mirror Image, I have really good employees. Um, and great manager. And so I have help there. My sons are now in the industry, actually.
Oh, good,
They're
good.
working for SPSI, that's a like company that sells equipment and ink,
Mhm.
and they're installing presses and repairing them,
Oh, that's
like
awesome.
3 weeks.
That's
And
great
then,
experience right there.
oh, it's great. So 3 weeks a month they do that, travel all around, and then a week they're at Mirror Image. And that's been really great, actually.
Good. So, what's next for Ink Kitchen? You guys will be in Atlantic City, I think, in March, right?
Yeah, so we have really good bunch of shop talks planned for that. I mean, I think people are catching on. In Long Beach, if you saw, there was like a lot of people because it's free information, and I think people didn't really know what it was, and now people have been coming around for that. And then we'll be doing poster printing, and donating it to this Adelaide's Place. It's a Women's Day program for homeless ladies. And then what else we got going on? Oh, this artificial intelligence series is amazing.
Yeah, with Michelle. Mhm.
Yeah, and then I'm working with this guy. I guess I can't say, I might jinx it, but a guy that's really brilliant marketer, um, especially social media,
Okay.
and he gave a shop talk in Long Beach, and we might work something out so that he's going to do a series also, because he's also a genius, I would say.
Okay.
Um, and so. That's pretty fun stuff and good for, in kitchen listeners. Hopefully people subscribe to the YouTube channel. That helps a lot. that gives us more sponsors, gives us more money to like not get richer necessarily, but to afford to do more charitable stuff and to get better speakers and so forth.
Absolutely.
So, um, yeah.
All right. Well, any last words that you would like to say about Rick Roth and all the many fascinating things he's done over his lifespan? Because you've done a
No,
lot.
it's been really nice. You know, you asked a lot of nice questions and um this has been a real pleasure actually. And yeah, you know, I'm available. You know, people you can if you see it something on the in kitchen and you ask a question, I'll usually answer it. If you go to one of these trade shows, come up and ask me whatever you want. I don't know everything. Actually, so the first shows we did, you would think this is pretty funny. We had sweatshirts that said know it all.
Did they ask any questions? Because you know
Yeah,
it all.
people ask questions, they would laugh. It's like, yeah, I don't know everything, you know, but you know what? I usually know somebody that does, or I'll give you something that will help you figure it out. Yeah, it was like a joke because I
Yeah.
don't know everything, but what I do know, I'm willing to share, and I'm always willing to steer people in the right direction. So, all
Well,
right.
we appreciate you coming and stopping by and spending some time with us and letting us get to know you and all the many fascinating things and wonderful and purposeful things that you do in the community. We really appreciate everything that you do and give back to us, the newcomers coming in and learning the actual craft, because it is a craft and it is a beautiful craft and it has been around for a while, in which you have pretty much told us the steps you have with all of the methods. And you are still here in the business. That lets us know that screen printing is not dead. It is still going to be here and it's going to be standing right alongside all the new things that keep arising and coming up with it. So we appreciate you, Rick. We appreciate you, just giving us this piece of information and give us a piece of you. So thank you for coming and have a great one. Thank you.
Thank
Good deal. I appreciate it, Rick. You have given us a great amount of information. It was a lot of information that I did not know. I had pulled some information down about you, and now I know so much more in depth that I did not know, along with all the notes that I took about you, because I will probably do a write up in my little newsletter here about this as well. So
Yeah, I gotta subscribe to that.
yeah, so I'll
Sign
send
me
you
up.
a I will send you a link over for you to subscribe.
Please
And
do.
I will take you up on your offer. If I have any questions, I will reach out and say, hey, Rick,
I mean it. I mean it.
I'll put you to the test. So we'll see how that goes. But I appreciate you. Thank you so much for giving
All
us
right.
time. And tell Miss Pam I appreciate her for sharing you with me for 1 hour.
I'll tell her. She's happy to have that.
I will
I'm a
see you
bit
guys
much.
come to Fort Worth, right? You guys
Yeah,
are
I'll see
coming?
you in Fort Worth. You
That's,
bet.
that's right. I'll see you guys then. All
All right,
right.
cool.
Have a good one, okay?
All right, bye.
Thank you. Bye-bye.